So to begin, I would like to start and describe a little bit about my background so you have an idea of where I am coming from. So I've been involved with Chinese medicine more than 40 years, and that first started in 1972 when I was teaching Tai Chi Chuan and had learned it. That progressed later. I studied in Japan, continued studying Tai Chi, started studying acupuncture, was in Japan twice, read, write, and speak Japanese, traveled through Asia for a couple years, and returned to the United States in 1979, where I began translating cancer research for the National Cancer Institute on translating Japanese research on cancer. I started taking the Occidental Institute of Chinese Studies as well as in the Traditional Acupuncture Institute, as well as ACTCM during that time period, and then I became licensed in California in 1983. In 1985, I believe it was when the first national examination occurred. I took the first examination in California and passed that as well on the first try. After that, the AIDS epidemic was just beginning. I helped start the Immune Enhancement Project, which then continued on for a good number of 30 years or so, when it finally closed down recently. I was a member of the California Acupuncture Association, North American Acupuncture Association, a variety of different acupuncture associations, both state and national, for probably 30 years or so. I was at the local chapter of the California Acupuncture Association, very active in the Berkeley region. Then eventually I went and I served on the board of directors and became the chair of the Political Action Committee for about 8 months. I was one of the co-chairs. I was co-chair of the Acupuncture Day in 1989, and a number of these different documents here are related to the history of acupuncture in California. Now, many of you may be recent graduates. How long have you been in acupuncture? Let's say, write down in the comments the year that you were first licensed, just as a curiosity here for me. Excellent. And now I would like you to write down what your fee for your follow-up acupuncture visit is currently. Well, back in 1984 when I first began, I was charging $35, although many of my colleagues were already charging $100 for a visit, minimum. Now, you think about what the fees are currently that the cut rate organizations are paying, which is $41. Undercutting of the profession is going on by people who are just skimming off millions off of the top. A lot of history went into actually getting acupuncturists licensed. Previously, we were certified. And so as part of Acupuncture Day in 1989, we did a long retrospective on the history of acupuncture legislation up to that point, 1989, and that is what this list here is for providing. Now, words and word choice matters, and this is not only in the arena of the law, but it is also in the arena of your clinic, as you well know. So words and word choice matters. Here is a proclamation that was by Senator Milton Marks, who is one of the big champions of acupuncture. What he say? He says SB 840, which was the Senate Bill 840, 1988, signed by Governor Duke Majian, establishes acupuncturists as physicians in the labor code. This is in the workers' comp arena. The recommendation to reduce the fees and eliminate the previous references to acupuncture is considered totally incomprehensible to the legislature. See, somebody decided to get rid of acupuncturists at that point, and Senator Marks had to jump in and say, no, this is not the intention of the legislature. It was never the intent in Senator Marks' mind when the legislature voted on the SB 40 that this would be the end result. So clarifications had to be made because there was political backstabbing and back deals and all kinds of corruption that was going on in the legislature at that time, trying to get rid of acupuncturists. And the whole solidity of the acupuncture profession has been tried to be ripped out from underneath them by other medical groups for years and years and years. And so this is one of the reasons why the acupuncture associations were developed. And I learned about a lot of the backroom dirty dealings that went on in political arenas. And as a result of all the lies and the things of that was going on between lobbyists and all, I quit that position because I just couldn't deal with the dishonesty going on. But at any rate here, Senator Marks and Senator Art Torres, both from Southern California, were huge proponents of acupuncture and really for getting acupuncture firmly established. And you should not ever think that it is a done deal. This is why CSOMA, this is a very important organization. All the national and the state organizations are extremely important in preserving the profession. And this is why you should join a professional organization. I am not a member of professional organizations currently. I paid into it for at least 35 years. And I feel like that the low turnout of other acupuncturists, the lack of support, they need to come to the forefront. I provided my time and money in significant amounts over the years. So I feel like if you aren't a member now, join. Get your colleagues to join. Because you need to support the profession that other people that is built on the hard work people as well. So here, second paragraph, acupuncture and the profession have become just as important to the citizens of this great state as many other modalities. Senator Marks strongly supports their need for parity. Now, this last word is very interesting here. Parity, it's P-A-R-O-D-Y. I don't know who wrote this, but when you look at this word, there's another word that actually sounds the same and is the word that they meant. It is parity, not parity. So again, this timeline of acupuncture legislation from 1973 to July 7th, 1989. And 1973 was when the first acupuncture-related legislation was passed. And this was a big picture perspective that I was providing and I felt was necessary for the Acupuncture Day events where we brought together I think it was 8 different acupuncture organizations in California that were sort of vying and fighting against each other, and I felt like it was important to come together as a unified voice. And yet, there still are some divisions in the profession related to cultural background. A pivotal bill, Senate Bill 840 in September 1988, sponsored by Art Torres, defined and got acupuncturists defined as physicians in the workers' compensation system. At the same time, another distinction that was put in then and continues to this day is that acupuncturists were not allowed to do disability evaluations. Now, this is also a key component of the current restrictions on acupuncturists in the qualified medical evaluator system. where we are not permitted to do disability evaluations, even though many of us have that training in spades. I do, many others do. But and I've been a QME since the inception of the entire process in 1993. I was one of the first acupuncturists who was certified, and I've continued that status to date. But anyway, this is important legislation, and words matter. Physician, important word. You can say that you are a physician because you are a physician in the workers' compensation system in California. Another bill, SB 2179 by Art Torres, got insurance coverage by acupuncture when done by certified acupuncturists. Well, we were certified, now we are not certified. We are licensed. There was a change in the law that changed us from certified to licensed. However, back before and even today in certain locations, medical doctors doing acupuncture are covered by insurance, and licensed acupuncturists have to fight with the insurance companies, telling them that no, if a medical doctor does it, we are, as licensed professionals, are also covered by the same insurance plan. Language and words matter. So in even 1989, the Council of Acupuncture Organizations, which was a group of all these different disparate groups of acupuncturists in California, came together under a council in order to come up with an acupuncture fee schedule for the workers' compensation system. And this is where they came in with relative value. So each different code has a certain number of units, and then these units are paid by a certain dollar amount per unit. And this then set a certain standard, minimal standard, of what insurance companies should be paying acupuncturists for the different procedures that they are performing. This was pivotal. And this actually set things at a nice, a fairly reasonable standard. And then, of course, it's been undercut over and over and over again. And some insurance companies do actually respect acupuncture still, but in the workers' comp system and HMO arena, all insurance companies are trying to drive acupuncture fees back down to the pre-1983 level. They're trying to send the fees back to 37 years ago, when the expense of an acupuncture practice has not gone down, it has gone up. You have insurance. There's just so many different things. Needles are cheaper. Fine, needles are cheaper. And you don't have to autoclave anymore. That's an improvement, but equal. And with inflation rate, actually the basic fee should be closer to $120 rather than some discounted $40, which the middle people are just taking a huge profit out. But at any rate, the acupuncture world has been rocked by various scandals. You may have not known about this if you're a recent graduate, but we had to live through this. There was a member on the acupuncture board who was selling exam results and test answers. This has happened a couple different times in the history of the acupuncture board. And at that time, because of that, the money to fight that was taken out of the acupuncturist reserves. And so acupuncturists had to pay the same amount, but every year instead of every 2 years, for about 5 or 6 years to pay it back. So once again, those of you who are here as new acupuncturists, you are riding on the shoulders of all the money that previous licensed acupuncturists have put into the system. You take it for granted, but you should not. So anyway, there was these big scandals, and it cost acupuncturists a lot of money, and there was a bit of a stain on the acupuncture profession. not because of what we do and how we do it, but because of the administration at the top. So it has been changed, and its structure has been changed many times. This is a picture of me back in the mid-'80s, late 80s, early 90s, with my master's degree, my Oriental medical doctorate, up there on the wall. Also in the 80s, 90s, I worked with Dr. Shima and brought various master acupuncturists to California from Japan. And one of those was Dr. Mori, Hidetaro Mori. And he taught pediatric acupuncture. So we actually introduced pediatric acupuncture, Japanese style pediatric acupuncture. Dr. Shima and myself, Dr. Mori, introduced this to California and the rest of the country because people came from all over the country to take our classes. And this is how Japanese style shonishin got introduced to America. And so that is a specialty that I have also done. And languaging with children is very important as well. So pediatric acupuncture, other Japanese style acupuncture, was introduced back at that time when it was not before. As a result of this, also I was invited to present a paper at the International Congress of Oriental Medicine, the 6th annual meeting in Tokyo, Japan in 1990. And this is one of the most whirlwind tours I ever did to Japan. It came up very rapidly. And so I think we flew there. We were there for about 4 days, and I flew back. I don't recommend that, but here Dr. Shima and myself are there with another presenter from the Tokyo College of Oriental Medicine. And this was the poster board presentation that I did on the acupuncture status in the United States, all the different schools, the degree granting. This was 1990, and as a result of this, 2 of the Japanese acupuncture schools became very interested in coming to the U.S. and opening schools, and they actually bought into the schools, and that is still the legacy today in 2 of these schools in California. Money brought in from the Japanese schools and training from the Japanese schools, and I was the underlying impetus for providing the background information that helped them make their decision. And this is the Japanese version of my poster board information, 1990. So words choice matters. This is a key idea and concept that is the focus of this particular seminar workshop. So we're going to have a lot of interaction here, but before we do that, I'd like you to just listen to what these people have to say about the importance of languaging and how it improves relationships and helps you connect with your patients more effectively.
This completely changed everything for me. And what was so amazing was that as soon as I started using it, it made a huge difference.
It's very important to know whom you are speaking to and how to speak to them, so you can tailor your initial consultation and your treatment plan so that they will follow it. I wholeheartedly recommend the course on the Banco personality. Thank you.
I am not going to be talking about the longer version of this class that is 10 hours long, where you can learn more about the techniques I am describing here, the information I'm describing here, to help you connect more effectively and quickly with patients. I won't be talking about that in detail, but you are able to Get more information later if you do decide that you want to learn more. And that was what Dr. Fong was talking about, that the longer version of this introductory course.